What up? Hello, hello, everybody. Oh. Hope you are all enjoying the holidays. Merry Christmas. Almost. We are 3 days away, y'all. Sorry, I am just gathering all of my notes. I'm almost ready for y'all. Sorry, I only have to add one more thing to my notes because I literally forgot about one particular scene that I really wanted to talk about. So now I've got mention it in my notes. But what are y'all saying in the chat? Hey Kaiwan, you said, yeah, I think Nina is doing this because you want to set up sensor control against Willow. Yeah, we gonna talk about Nina and her overreach. And hey, Jacarius. And I sure hope they're trying to push Isaiah and Jordan to get together. Hey, Allison. Angel just straight up talks with child. Right? Right, though? Oh, man. Hey, y'all. It is good to see you. It has been a crazy week. Willow made me... Me too, girl. Me too. Oh, man. Yeah, lots to discuss today, isn't there? So much. So much. Come on, you said also Nina's been repeating what Nell said in 2021. She never changes. She never changes. But what's up, everybody? Welcome to General Hospital After Show. I'm your host, Dion Gabriel. And we've got tons to talk about today, as y'all can see. Jakari says, Willow, welcome to the club. Oh, man. Yeah, you guys, we got so much to talk about. Like... My notes are long this week, you guys. It took me hours to write this. Jakari, she said you used to like Willow. She was a teacher until Nina got her fired. Mm-hmm. Oh, man. But yeah, I hope you guys had a good week. Mine was, a bit of a roller coaster. I had to go to my friend's wake, which was really tough, and it's never fun losing someone over the holidays. Obviously, on the show, someone had that happen to them this week as well. We gonna talk about it. All right. And apologies in advance. My allergies be acting up today. Nothing rough, but I do sound a little bit congested as a result. But in terms of my flu, I'm pretty much better, which is great. Angel, you said I haven't liked Willow like that since she was with Chase. Yeah, that was the last time I liked Willow too. Alright, y'all. But let's get into it. We'll talk about Willow in a bit, but first, I want to talk about Dex, just because that was kind of the start of the week. But don't worry, we're going to get into some Quartermaine ridiculousness, because I got a lot to say about Willow, too. Oh, man. So much to say. So much to say. But yeah, in regards to Dex, at the end of the previous week, shortly after getting a full bill of health from a non-life-threatening stab wound, Dex had a heart attack and died, just like Sam, likely at the hands of Cyrus Renault, just like Sam. And it didn't take very long for the hospital to put two and two together that something sinister was going on. Elizabeth, being the head nurse, was brought into Portia's office and given an ultimatum of stepping away from patient care and doing administrative work instead of going on leave for the remainder of the investigation. Not that they believe that she had anything to do with it, it's just protocol. And even Elizabeth seen it coming and asked Lucky to be there for moral support, which was a little strange, not gonna lie. Almost as strange as Terry not being in the room, since she and Portia are co-chiefs of staff. But I digress. The next day, Elizabeth invited Rick over to her house to strategize, knowing the hospital's lawyers could potentially use Liz as a scapegoat if things get left unsolved. In fact, while Elizabeth was originally going to go to the administration route, Rick thinks it's best that Elizabeth goes on leave instead, should anyone else die during this investigation. And Lucky was there too, and while he and Rick were initially bumping heads, Lucky did agree that it was best that she did step away from the hospital as well. Hey, Sandy. Oh, man. Jack Arias, he said, I guess Jocelyn has got the death vagina. I mean, so did Michael. Death D. I guess it runs in the family. Carly's curse, y'all. she did that to them kids. All the karma is gonna skip past you and go straight to your kids, is basically what karma said. And yeah, Kaiwan, you agree. It is better for her if she's being accused of murder. Well, that's the thing. I don't think that anyone thinks that Elizabeth does it. I don't think anyone in the hospital thinks that she did it. But if it all comes down to they don't have anyone to blame, the hospital will probably have Elizabeth take the fall if they don't find out about Cyrus. It sucks, but the hospital's a business, and if more things happen, they'll need a scapegoat if they don't find the killer. It's just wild to me that with all that's gone wrong in the hospital over the years, I get not having cameras in the patient's room, but have cameras facing every room at this point, at the entrance of each room, so we know who's going in and out of all of them. Y'all can afford it. Y'all are banked by the Quartermaine family and the Cassidines and the Corinthuses. Y'all have money, okay? Dex was a stupid cop, and that's why he was unalived. I mean, it was pointless. I do say, when there's a character that doesn't have much story that's being pushed to the PCPD, that's where they go to die. It's true. It's true. Okay, now, since we are talking about the death of a character, Dex, we should discuss the people grieving for him. Obviously, at the top of that list is Jocelyn. She dated the man, or at least had sex with him a lot, and loved him for it, y'all. Who could blame her? The man was hot. But I'm not going to lie. Eden McCoy's performance in Jocelyn's grief didn't wow me. And really, to me, it came across as insincere. I don't know. She had her goodbye scenes at his bedside, then cried on Jason's shoulder until her mom showed up. Took Carly a minute to get there because she was having too much fun, all up in Michael's business. And of course, we're going to get into that in a bit here. She also had scenes talking with Trina the next day. Oscar came up in her conversations as well. It's so wild to me that both Jocelyn and Trina have lost 2 boyfriends in their young life so far. And such is life in a town within a soap opera, I guess. But they are in their early 20s still, y'all. Yeah, I always have cameras in hospitals. I mean, that's the thing. They did say that there were cameras in the hallways, but if there's none facing Sam's room or Dex's room, it's pointless. because anybody could just be walking around. Yeah, they'll see Cyrus, but there will be no proof that he's the one that went in there and killed them. Because what would be his motive? Nobody knows. I mean, we know, but nobody else knows. She was sadder with Oscar. Yeah, it's true. It's true. And that was such a big story to give Eden at the time because she was still so young, you know? And Angeli said, yeah, Liz is head nurse, unassigned drugs being administered under her watch. Exactly. Yeah, I get it. I get why she's, being scapegoated for it. But yeah, so not long after having those scenes with Trina, she was having a blast at her mom's place for Christmas. And she was all dressed up, colorful stickers on her face from her sisters. And listen, I totally get Jocelyn putting up a strong front for her little sisters while being there. But if they wanted to portray this death more realistically, she wouldn't be there at all. She would have been sitting in her apartment above the Quartermaine garage in sweats and a hair bun for days, and Carly would have been more than okay with that and would have just stopped by to, visit and comfort her. And instead, we have her at the family gathering at Carly's. By the way, Sunny's there, and Carly also picks up a stray in the form of Jack Brennan as well, who has mostly forgiven her for the whole bug in the office thing, I guess. And anyway, even if Jocelyn hadn't gone to the family gathering, she still could have taken herself out for a walk to Rice Plaza for some fresh air and some hot chocolate and run into her old friend and ex-boyfriend, Cameron Weber, who made a comeback this week. Allison, you said, what's Cyrus's motive for killing Sam? I think that he just wanted to get her out of the way so that Lulu could be, or so that Dante could be free to be with Lulu should she ever wake up from her coma. That's what I think the motive is. Truly. Jocelyn putting up a strong front for the others is very terrible. Yeah, it just didn't seem so realistic because it was essentially the next day, right? So it's like, I don't know. It was unrealistic to me. Yeah, when the show had continuity. It's true. But yeah, back to Cameron Weber. So William Lipton was back for a brief visit for the holiday season. And, sorry, Cameron didn't come alone. He brought his new girlfriend. Her name is Gretchen. I swear she had a different name before. Unless he's just had a different girlfriend before. But we knew that he had a girlfriend. Because they mentioned it earlier this year. But yeah, I don't know. Like, it was nice to see him. He didn't really have much of a reaction to Lucky being home. I'm sure Aiden told him he was back in town in the group chat that the brothers all apparently have with each other. But what threw me is that he called him Lucky. And realistically, Lucky was the only father he really knew since Xander died before he was born. And even though Lucky was absent for a long time, he would have been the father figure that he spent the most time with out of Elizabeth's other relationships. So it's interesting to me. Y'all said good for Cam. Maybe it was a different girlfriend. Who knows? Well, we didn't actually see a picture. I think her name was Yuki, though. I think you're right about that, Kaiwan. But I don't know. I don't know. I guess it's possible. He could have just been playing the field. Angeli said, I think Cyrus is messing with Lulu's ventilator. I don't even know how he wanted Sam out of the way for Lulu and Dante. Yeah, I almost forgot about the ventilator part. Yeah. Interesting. Gonna be mad that Lucky abandoned them all. Maybe. I mean, he didn't seem bitter towards Lucky, though. He gave him a hug and everything, so I don't know. And we did get to see Lucky and Cameron sing a song together as well, which was cute. And And then later, just before he left town again, he had run into Jocelyn in Rice Plaza, like I said, found out about Dex, and comforted her. I swear Jocelyn came across like seeing Cameron again was like a sign that he was really who she really belonged with, until his girlfriend showed up. And then after they caught their rideshare, she saw the ghost of Dex in his full police uniform that he never actually got to wear. So, you know, I'm guessing that's as close to like a funeral that we'll get for Dex. Just because, like, he doesn't really know anybody. They didn't make an effort to cast anyone in his family. And other than brief conversations with Molly, he didn't really have friends outside of the Trina and Jocelyn bubble. So, you know, I don't think we'll get a funeral for him. We never saw the girlfriend. I'm surprised they casted a girlfriend for him. Yeah, like, this was a one episode visit, you know? But William Lipton is very busy. He's filming a new series where he gets to not only act, but he gets to act and do music, because it's about a band forming and them presumably getting famous. And even one of his regular band members in his real band is in the show with him. So it's really cool. I don't know if it's out yet, but if it is, I'll definitely try to find it. And if it's not, then I'm going to find it when it comes out and watch it for sure. But yeah, I think they casted a girlfriend because there's obviously no what do you call it? No plans to bring him back anyway. What's the show? I don't know what it's called yet. The series for William Lipton, I don't actually know much about it. I did hear like a few months back ago that he got it, but I haven't heard much beyond that. I think he's probably still shooting it, likely. But yeah, stay tuned for that. When I do get more information, I'll tell you guys for sure, and I'll give my thoughts on it if I get a chance to watch it. But yeah, back to Dex for a second. Yeah, he doesn't have any friends outside of the Trina and Jocelyn bubble. Although they really tried to sell that he did by having Felicia, Mac, and Anna be super upset about it. I mean, Anna can kind of blame herself because she convinced him to become a cop. But obviously he wanted to be one. Jocelyn blamed herself for that as well. But again, all these scenes just came off as ingenuine. Like, it didn't seem real because we never seen them really have a relationship with him. But the conversation between Mac, Anna, and Felicia did bring up the fact that Felicia is aware that she is missing a detail that's super important to maybe solving the crime. Again, I think we all think that it has to do with the bell that Cyrus was ringing annoyingly through the whole thing. Likely it stopped ringing when Dex died. Or when Dex got stabbed, sorry. I just hope to God that Felicia isn't his next victim. I will be so pissed. I think William is really going to college. I mean, he's shooting a show too, though, so who knows? All right, y'all. Are you ready? We're going to get into the Quartermaine drama now because we might as well get right into it. All the craziness. What a mess. So, when we last left off, Carly was about to stop Nina and Willow from leaving with the kids. Far be it for me to praise Carly for being a busybody in Michael's life, because I usually hate it. Y'all know that. But I was thoroughly entertained at the way that Carly was hiding her fury under a really happy voice and a really huge smile as to not clue the kids in that something pretty dramatic was going on with their parents. But in the end, Michael showed up shortly after Drew schooled Michael on how he doesn't know anything about his and Willow's relationship, and she would never cheat if real feelings weren't there. And, you know, Michael in the end let Willow and Nina and the kids leave their house. Carly was furious because she believed that they were going to use that opportunity to keep the kids from him indefinitely. And Carly may have had the right to be worried in this case because Mama Nina decided that this was her chance to get Willow away from Michael and his family, and without a go-ahead from Willow, hired a lawyer for her and Martin Gray so she could get the ball rolling on a separation and try to find the best route to keep her children from Michael. And the reason that Willow didn't catch on to any of this early was because she was busy helping some homeless shelter with the mayor deputy, Jordan Ashford, and some of the GH staff, including Isaiah. And of course, Drew showed up there, mostly to see Willow probably, who couldn't help making goo-goo eyes at Drew the entire time. But my favorite part of these scenes was that Jordan was giving him the stink eye the entire time. It was hilarious. She was doing it so hard that Felicia took notice and kind of pieced everything together and even tried to get Willow away from Drew a couple of times. Not that it got anywhere, because she ended up inviting him over to Nina's to spend Christmas with them. Willow doesn't even care how the Qs could potentially use that against her if they found out that Drew spent Christmas with Willow once she gets home and filled in on the whole lawyer thing. Sorry, to Nina's home, I mean. What are y'all saying? Drew is a snake, Sandy says. Yes, he is. Oh, man. Has there been much this Quartermaine drama in years? Yeah, there's a lot of drama going on in that house right now. Sandy, you agree with Carly. Angel, how do you file for legal separation for a marriage that isn't even yours? Right? It's ridiculous. Doesn't realize that it played her about this idea to become mayor. Nobody clocking that he got elected in this thing because of Jordan's idea. That's true. Hey, Brooklyn. Willow melts like butter when she looks at Drew. Man, apparently Cameron Matheson's been doing interviews where he says, we're going to fall in love with Willow and Drew. And I'm like, no, we're not. If it hasn't worked so far, like, honestly. Honestly. Alright. I do gotta say, in regards to Nina, though, her reaction while Drew was having the nerve to actually show up to her house and trying to hide her disdain for him as well was hilarious, too. Because remember, Nina and Drew were sleeping around all over the place while Drew was supposedly developing really hardcore feelings for Willow. And she even invited Ava and Rick over to try and distract her from word vomiting the truth in front of Willow, which she almost did once before they got there. And watching Ava deal with the clownery was fun too. Thought he was leaving for DC. You would think. I mean, he might be soon, but who knows? I mean, he's going to commute, right? So he'll go back and forth, likely. But yeah, Rick was only a part of the visit for so long before Alexis called him over. Alexis reluctantly did that so at the advice of Diane, because she wanted to give Molly a normal Christmas as a distraction and knew it would probably make her happy to have both her parents in the room being civil for her. But we haven't seen those scenes play out yet, but I hope we do, because it would be hilarious, because we know how much those two hate each other. And Nancy's really good at like that kind of humor. Even when she was calling him, she just looked so annoyed by it, and she's just like, our daughter needs us. But yeah, Quartermaine drama was all over the place this week. And we'll get into other Quartermaine drama a little bit later in regards to Lulu. But the thing that I put in my notes just before or while I was going live was that I wanted to talk about the scenes between Tracy and Jason, because those were so interesting to me. This was our first time seeing Jason actually post living in the Quartermaine mansion again. He had some scenes with Sasha as well, but his scenes with Tracy, she kind of said her piece and was like, I think you're a thug. I don't like you. You left this family. However, I prefer you to Drew. And just kind of listed how, even though he spent a lifetime trying to get rid of the Quartermaine name, he's still more of a Quartermaine than Drew was. Because, he's rallying there to be for his family in the ways that the Qs do, whereas Drew is mostly for himself. And I just really like that. It's very rare. It's been a minute since we've had Jane Elliott and Steve Burton share a conversation and act alongside each other, but it was really cool. I really liked it. It was just nice to see. Sandy said, loved Tracy and Jason, best scene ever. Angelie said, I have to agree, this is karma for Michael for cheating with Willow on Chase. Willow and Michael were wrong what they did to Chase. Yeah. I mean, they had the fact that he was dying as an excuse, I suppose. But, they could have waited till he died. And he didn't end up dying, so that's on them. Oh, man. But yeah, so much drama. And we'll get into, the Lulu and Brooklyn stuff a little bit later, just because I kind of have Lulu in her own category, because she's done a few things. Love Jason. Say thank you. Yeah. Yeah, he was just like, thank you. Thanks. He didn't know what to say. But yeah, let's switch gears. Let's talk about Jordan and Isaiah, because GH through, like I mentioned earlier, there was a lot of humorous scenes this week with Carly and Nina, but they had some other humorous moments as well, and a couple of them came from Jordan and Isaiah. We had, it was a nice surprise because I've been wanting to see more of them, and we got to see more of them this week. First, we see Jordan a little bit fearful of getting her flu shot, and when Isaiah managed to do so, give it to her, he did it so discreetly that she couldn't even freak out. She was scared, and he's like, I already did it. You're good. And she's just like, what? It was funny. It was cute. It was cute and funny. But then later in the week, we see Jordan and Isaiah ending up locked in a steam room together, naked. They weren't hooking up or anything. Apparently, Isaiah somehow thought that he was in the men's steam room, and when it was in fact the female steam room. And the employee had no idea how to get them out. They got locked in, the door got stuck or something. And Jordan was a little bit freaked out, and Isaiah was pretty chill about it. They had nothing to help them get out of there, so they just had to kind of wait it out while things were getting hotter and hotter, because the employee didn't even turn off the steam. But it was so fun to me, and of course, Isaiah has a banging body, the actor that plays him. And Jordan looked good in a towel too, and honestly, it was nice to finally see her do something beyond mayoral duties and being Curtis's soundboard like she has been for years now. And I hope that they utilize this couple more frequently. I think, we need to get to know Isaiah better as well. And Jordan needs a man. I've been saying this for years. Jordan needs a man. Isaiah is a good-looking man. He seems like an interesting character. I want to get to know him more. And I want to get to know Jordan as a person again, instead of this sort of side character who just kind of gives advice to Curtis and compliments people like Anna and Drew and doesn't really have much going on in her own life. I'm stoked to see it. I hope we see it. But speaking of Curtis, to go back into the Quartermaine drama, because we got more of it, y'all. We got to see Curtis hand Drew his ass this week, effectively outplaying him, outmaneuvering him, of being the CEO of Aurora. He made it look like Aurora's stocks were tanking with Michael's help, and Michael buying all the stocks so he'd have the most pull of what happens to Aurora. And Curtis was also smart enough to have Michael do up a contract that made him CEO for the next 5 years so that Michael couldn't play him either. Drew was not happy, and Curtis felt proud that he fought and won his position from a guy who was willing to throw him under the bus for the sake of hiding his poor image from the public. His win was one of those things that the Ashfords got to celebrate during their Christmas gathering this week. And I do like seeing the Ashfords together. I really like them as a family unit. They are probably, to me, in my opinion, the most believable family and more realistic family on the show. Like, there's no weirdness in terms of who's related to who. It's just one solid family. They're all close. They're all close. And Marshall also returned to spend Christmas with them, which was, unexpected. It was nice to see him with the family as well. And Trina eventually shows up too, but not before running into Laura and talking about Spencer and all the attention Ace was getting now that Lulu and Lucky are both back in town. And then, of course, she runs into Kai, and, their scenes were cute, too. They got an extension on their paper so that they could deliver their project together. I don't know. I like them. I like Trina and Kai. I do want to see more of them, too. They complement each other well so far. They act really well together, too, so, and they seem to get along in real life. GH had their Christmas party, and, they did take pictures together a few times, so it was cool. Sandy, you said it was good to see Marshall, but scrolling up, you said this Lulu's getting a bit annoying. I do have something to say about that, actually, too, Kaiwan. We're kind of saving Lulu for last, but there's only one other point left to make beyond Lulu. There's just a lot to talk about under the bubble that we're going to talk about next, and that bubble is the Scorpio family. I think we should check in with Sasha. This poor girl is just having a rough end to the year. Not only is she having to hide her morning sickness after getting knocked up by Chucky, dealing with the fact that she's carrying a Quartermaine baby in secret, she's also having to put up with Tracy's Traciness during the anniversary of her first baby's death. Tracy grills her for getting eggs wrong in Lulu's meal because Lulu had spent the night, and again, we'll talk about that shortly. Because obviously I'm very happy about a Tracy and Lulu reunion. But yeah, Sasha literally walks off the job and just, she's angry that Tracy's being so rude to her over a simple mistake and a misunderstanding. And she goes to St. Timothy's Church to light a candle and say a prayer for her first child. She runs into Sunny, who's there being the good mobster and donating to the church or something stupid like that. And they have a heart-to-heart about how she'll always be family because of Brando. And of course, she knows that she's carrying Sunny's grandchild as well. And after Sunny leaves, Tracy arrives because Maxie had shown up to the Q mansion. And when she talks about Sasha seeming off, Maxie's like, it's the anniversary of her baby's death. And while some people like to think that Tracy doesn't have a heart, she does. We've seen it over the years, and it's gotten bigger as time goes on, And she felt awful for how she treated her and apologized. That said, I like that Sasha still held her ground and said something to the effect of, I accept your apology, but the way you treated me is unacceptable, regardless of what I was going through. You need to learn to respect me and respect that I'm an employee and treat me like a human being and not some slave. And I think that garnered Tracy's respect. So perhaps she'll have an ally in the house for a while, at least until Tracy finds out that she's carrying Michael's baby. Then we'll see what goes on. Now, after Tracy leaves, she's alone in the church for a little bit, but she's speaking out loud and, about losing her baby. And just as a mysterious gentleman enters the church, she of course mentions that she's pregnant while praying out loud, and he lifts his head, and we see that the gentleman is actually Sidwell, the shitty poker player who got mad at Holly for stealing his diamonds, even though she gave them back. So I guess he's either just been hiding in plain sight this whole time, or came back into town for round 2, even though Holly herself is not in Port Charles. Did I care to see him back? Not really. And I guess he's taking a break because we haven't seen him since then. But he's not an interesting villain to me. He's a laughable, cartoony villain. So I don't need to see more of this guy. Ay. Kaiwan, you said, do you think they'll keep him as a football player? Oh, in regards to Kai. Do I think they'll keep him as a football player or break his leg and have him leave? I mean, if they're going to keep him around town instead of making him a big star, he's going to have a reason to stay. An injury would certainly make him do that. And then maybe he'll have to find love in art. We'll see. Well, we'll see. I think that's a good theory, though, Kaiwan. Angel said, "I get Lulu's point of view. I do too, but I'll make my point when we get into her." Angel said, "I think Sasha almost told Michael, probably." And you said, I hope they let Sasha have this baby. Sid Will showing up like the angel of death. I mean, he might. I don't know. I think he'd be doing Sasha a favor, but I also don't want her to go through more grief and lose another baby. It's a slippery slope. Sasha needs to tell Michael. She does. But I feel like she won't get to. Because we know Michael's leaving. And that's probably for the best in terms of, like, Sasha being able to keep the secrecy that he's the father. You know, there will be no proof. She just could have gotten hooked up by a random man. No one knows that she hooked up with Michael. Just that she hooked up with someone. So, we'll see. But yeah, back to the Scorpios, though. Sadly, James is making everyone a little bit sad because he desperately wants his Uncle Cody to be at the Christmas celebration. Sasha does show up, and Felicia mentions it. So does James, obviously. And, you know, Cody just doesn't want to be there. His romantic relationship being blown apart because they're related is the reason. It's a valid reason. But Sasha sees how important this is to James and how important it is to Mac and Felicia. They really want Cody to be there. So she tries to convince him to go. And she actually manages to convince him to. Although, she didn't think that she got through to him. But he does show up. Because they're family, whether they like it or not. And other family members needed him to be there. And so he does. And it's a happy Christmas for the Scorpios after all. Or as happy as it can be under these circumstances anyway. I'm sure there's still going to be awkwardness for Sasha and Cody for a long time, but they do have to get used to it. Because whether they like it or not, they're family. Angel, you said, I hate that they aren't recasting Michael with the storyline. I'm surprised that they aren't too. But I guess it leaves drama for Michael to come back to when they do decide to recast him. Yeah, I don't know. It is weird that they didn't just recast him in the biggest story Michael's gotten in a while. Angel said, what Michael and Curtis did, is it illegal? You would think it is. Isn't this also kind of like insider trading? Like, I know Michael's within the company and it's not some outsider, but like, Michael knew that it was a fake leak about the stocks. Everyone backed out of the stocks. Michael bought them because he knew that wasn't the real numbers. There's got to be something illegal about it. And Drew seems to think that there probably is, but, there's contracts involved. We'll see. We'll see where it goes. Hopefully, like, in my opinion, I think that the only way for Drew to say this something sinister went on here, like, I think if he goes that route, all it will take for him to keep his mouth shut is for them to be like, Drew, if you come after us, we will make sure that the truth comes out about Willow. SEC violation. Yeah. But I just think Drew is so, into his self-interest that he probably knows that they'll use the Willow stuff against him so that he'll lose his career. And then he'll have nothing left to show for himself. Willow is an idiot. Truly, Angel. Maybe that's how Michael ends up going to prison. Oh, you could be right. Do we know that he's going to prison? Is that a spoiler? I mean, I don't think they're gonna kill him, but it would be a way to get him out of the show for a while. So, time will tell. All right, y'all. But let's finally talk a little bit about Lulu. She learned nothing from Shiloh. She truly didn't. But yeah, let's talk about Lulu. Shortly after nearly getting shot at by Dante after she snuck into Windermere looking for clues about where Valentine could have taken Charlotte, they have a conversation in a cafe where Dante informs her that she needs a reality check because she could have been killed by him shortly after coming out of a coma, which would have devastated Rocco. And Lulu just like slouches and says sorry. And then later Dante takes her to the Quartermaine mansion to have a reunion with Tracy, who I guess has been out of town while Lulu's been over to see Rocco all those other times. I guess they kind of explained it. So anyway, it was everything that I wanted it to be. Tracy was happy and emotional. Lulu called her step monster just like old times because she had walked in on Tracy berating Drew. They have this cute banter. Lulu compliments her and talks about how the best thing Luke ever gave her was Tracy. And Tracy offered all of her resources for Lulu to use to find Charlotte, but made her promise that she doesn't go rogue. And Lulu promises, but I'd bet money she's going to break that promise, though, depending on where Charlotte is. But yeah, she spends the night because she was there so late and ends up reuniting with Brooklyn in the morning. And of course, it isn't pretty because since, the last time they would have seen each other was before all of the growth that Brooklyn had experienced. Well, I do love that Lulu is back in town. I think that the most frustrating part of her return for me is that Lulu can't seem to grasp how much has changed, including the people, and she's still kind of holding on to 4-year-old grudges, which I get, and I think that's what you were trying to mention earlier, Angel. Like, you get that why Lulu is like that, but I think that Lulu needs to understand that, like, nothing is what it was. Yeah, Lulu still has to deal with things that everyone got a chance to deal with, but at the same time, she shouldn't be jumping down people's throats and not hearing them out, not letting them speak first, letting them apologize, saying how much things have changed. And, like, Brooklyn, through all the possible flaws of her distant past, yet to be revealed, because I think this Geo stuff is going to come to light with Dante. But she has experienced a lot of growth, especially after she protected Maxie's baby from Peter and found love with Chase and married him and really got another family that she's learned to love as her own as well. And it's not that Lulu should know or assume that, like I said, but she needs to stop coming at these people with the fire of 1,000 suns because, she just needs to step back, ask them questions. What happened to you in the last 4 years? Or at least talk to someone who would know, like Dante or Tracy, because they know the history between Lulu and Brooklyn, and they've also seen Brooklyn's growth. And even Brooklyn mentioned, just ask Maxie. Like, Maxie and Brooklyn are almost best friends now, and Tracy loves Brooklyn like a daughter, and Dante and her are friends again. So there's a lot to sort of catch up on. I get that. Like, her grudges don't feel like 4 years ago. I get that, like, she hasn't dealt with that because of the fact that she was in a coma. It felt like yesterday. But, like, mentally she should know that it hasn't. She's aware that it's not yesterday. She's aware that it's 4 years. She's seen that her kid is all grown up. She's seen that Dante fell in love with another woman and was with her for years and living with her. Like, she knows things has changed. So she should kind of keep that acknowledgement when handling things and just, like, hash it out in a way that's, like, she can still be mad about what Brooklyn did and why she was mad at her in the first place. But, like, at least hear her out and let her have her chance to say her piece about the past and about the present. Unfortunately, Lulu did push Brooklyn's buttons, and Brooklyn did clap back because that's just who Brooklyn is. And she even admitted to Dante, she's like, I'm happy for you, but I still can't stand Lulu. She's the same selfish person she's always been. But, who knows what would have happened if Lulu was around to see how much Brooklyn has changed. The Brooklyn and Dante stuff is a lot older than 4 years. It's 14. Yeah, but they weren't getting along when she came back to town either, because Amanda Sutton and Emmy Ryland were sharing scenes when Brooklyn came back. And I'm pretty sure that's how Brooklyn and Chase ended up meeting. Lulu and Brooklyn had like a whole bar fight at the Metro Court. And I think Chase got hit by one of the bottles. I just remember that Valentine was filming it too, because I think they were kind of in a custody thing with Charlotte, and he was going to use that against her. But yeah, like there's still recent history with Brooklyn and Lulu that was only 4 years old. I'm sure the stuff that happened 14 years ago with him drugging Dante, and she can be bitter about that. If Carly and Sonny can hold a grudge against Ava and all their enemies over the years to this day, then she has the right to too, but she's got to respect that she's changed in some way. And even Carly and Sonny have been known to soften up on Ava because they know the hell that she's been through. I just think that Lulu needs to hear what Brooklyn's been through and what she's experienced in life, so that she can learn to just kind of let go and move on the same way that Brooklyn has, until she reveals that she's she gave birth to Dante's son when they were teenagers, and then she has another thing to be mad about when it comes to that. It is again in the past, but Lulu's gonna have a right to be mad that Rocco has a brother out there that he's unaware of. So we'll see what happens with them. Hey Nathan, it's all good. We're just chatting about GH. We're almost done, but we're still talking about Lulu and what's going on with her at the moment. But yeah, Lulu, she got to reunite with Cody when she wandered over to the stables. Cody knew that hitchhiker was Lulu through Dante, and Dante hadn't informed Lulu, I guess, but she did apparently know of him once he established that he met Dante through summer camp. And they were a bit flirtatious, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I kind of like the idea of the possibility of a Cody and Lulu pairing. And it might be pretty cool to see them team up to track Charlotte down, because Cody is resourceful. But yeah, I'm here for Cody and Lulu. Since we can't get Cody and Sasha anymore, I'm intrigued by them, and Dante needs to grieve. So I think that he needs a minute before he ends up back in Lulu's arms. Hey ETM. You said that kind of confused me about Brooklyn and Dante. I didn't think they did a hookup. Yeah, like, it annoys me because Brooklyn, like, even way back then, like when Carly had hired her to sleep with Dante, like, she was like, Dante's cute enough, but he's like my brother. Like, she didn't see him as like a sexual thing. Like, yeah, he's cute, but like, he's family. It's weird. This was her initial reaction. The only reason why she, went after Dante was for the money, because she was desperately broke and willing to do anything for money. Cody is supposed to be a Luke type character, a Scorpio type character. Yeah, he's got that sort of hero vibe, and he's got that hero courage, so Lulu needs a hero. Plain and simple. By the way, if I hadn't mentioned this in the past already, I have this weird sneaking feeling that since we don't know Cyrus's motives to want to move Lulu to South Carolina, my theory is that maybe Valentine is in South Carolina and he's aware of that, so that, I don't know, maybe Cyrus is working with Valentine. We know he's not working with the WSB, and while he has his own money, he might need some other resources that can help him stay hidden. And, he can hide in a place where they wouldn't expect to find him, like South Carolina. Like, why would they think he's over there? Angel, you said Dante and BLQ Baby is a complete rewrite. I fully agree. But yeah, again, it's just a theory. I know that Spinelli found out that Valentine was in Zurich for a transaction. He was physically over there, but he could have just flown up there, and maybe he's the one that got a hold of Ava's settlement money through the bank in Zurich. I don't know for sure, but that makes sense to me. But yeah, like Cyrus and Valentine working together makes kind of sense, because why else would he want to move Lulu? What does he stand to gain from that? There's just a lot that we don't know so far. But my theory is just a theory. I'm going to roll with it until proven otherwise. We'll see. By the way, Martin went to Laura to talk about how Anna and Jason went all vigilante on his ass, trying to get information about Valentine's whereabouts. And Laura's reaction was like, eek, that might be my bad. I wanted Anna to do everything she could to track down Charlotte for me. She may have taken things too far as a result. Whoopsie. It was so dumb. Martin's just so pissed off too. Like, they could have killed me. But yeah, Anna also pretty much left Jason in charge of the search for Charlotte, since now she has to focus on who killed Dex, despite feeling to blame for Charlotte not being here. Which, let's face it, she is at fault for that for sure, despite me understanding her motives and guilt over shooting Charlotte, even if that part does annoy me. That is one thing that Lulu hasn't learned yet, and in all honesty, I don't want her to learn it until Charlotte gets home, so that Lulu doesn't blow up at Anna. For the record, I do think Anna should be the one to tell her once Charlotte is found, though. ETM, you said, does somebody want to remind me why Valentine is on the run again? I can't remember, and he has Charlotte with him. Yeah, no, Charlotte is with him. So, Valentine is on the run because he was involved with Jack Brennan's sort of criminal empire. I forget what the name of it was, but there was a huge story involving this particular empire. Even Sonny was involved within it as well. I just forget the name of it, but it was a whole thing. And then Anna got the evidence that ties Valentine with that empire. Pikeman, thank you. Valentine is Pikeman. Valentine and Jack Brennan were involved with Pikeman. Thank you, guys. And so Anna found the evidence against him and was going to turn him in. The illegal guns. Yeah, Pikeman. And so, yeah, Valentine is Pikeman. Anna got the evidence. But instead of, turning, So Jason was the one that had to turn the evidence in, because Jason was working undercover for, the WSB as well. But it was all a messy storyline as well, because it was like 3 different writers taking over the story. Suffice to say, the evidence was handed in, but Anna convinced Jason to hand it in just a little bit after, because she wanted to have Valentine go on the run instead of having Charlotte be away from her father. So, because Jason really essentially just had to hand the evidence in, and then it would have been up to the WSB to do what they will with it. And by the WSB, I mean Agent Kate's Jagger. But basically, Anna is the reason why Valentine wasn't arrested, because she didn't want Charlotte away from her father. And here we are. Now, I think it would have been a different story if Lulu was around. Yeah, it was a rewrite that Valentine was Pikeman. He was supposed to be the de facto boss. Yeah, I think it was always supposed to be Jack Brennan, but then they kind of flipped it. But it is what it is. In any case, that is why Valentine is on the run. But yeah, that's all she wrote for now, you guys, on the GH front. Obviously, there won't be a live stream this Wednesday because it's Christmas Day. So I just want to wish you guys a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, whatever else you celebrate this time of year. I hope you get to enjoy it with your friends and family, or take in the holiday season in the ways that you enjoy doing so. And I will obviously see you next Sunday for a likely shorter review, depending on how many episodes we see this week. But maybe we'll even discuss what we want to see happen on GH in the new year as well. Things that we want for 2025 GH. Yeah. Angel, you're in Texas now. Okay. I'm still in Edmonton. It's actually not freezing out. It's -7. And considering we were at like -25 about a few days ago, I'll take it. But yeah, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, everybody. Yeah, it's going to be 3 episodes. Most likely, yeah. I don't think we'll get an episode Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. So, time will tell. But thanks for tuning in, you guys. Again, we have one last GH live stream before the new year. And it's been a great year. I've enjoyed all my live streams with you this year. There was a lot of breaks in between with becoming a new artist and all this other stuff. And there's bound to be some other breaks as well. You know, I'm hitting the ground running in that aspect for myself in January and February. So, you know, there's things to come. There's shows to do. Singles coming out. It's going to be an exciting start to the year. Yeah. Allison, you said new episode tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday. All right. Yeah, 3 episode week, and we'll talk about what we want for GH in 2025 as well. Because I likely won't do a Wednesday stream the following week either, because that's New Year's Day. And that's just kind of my day to kind of re-energize myself so I can hit the ground running for the new year and get all my goals in line, which I'm slowly starting to do now. It's been kind of shitty having this week or having this month really be so, I don't know, thrown for a loop with how often I was sick and you know, I losing my friend and going to his wake and just trying to get back to life, and it was just like one thing after another. So it was a hard end to the year. And, you know, this week was hard too. Just seeing my friend at the wake, and it's just so weird to, like, see someone like that, you know? And so that hit me hard this week as well. But, you know, he's not suffering anymore, and hopefully he's in a better place. And it was nice getting to meet his family and seeing all the people that cared about him. And, you know, I actually had no window into who his other friends were, except for one friend of mine who couldn't make it to the wake because he was stuck at work. But he did go to the funeral the next day, which I had to miss because of work. And we're going to catch up on that in a bit. But yeah, the rest of the week I've just kind of slowly been getting back to, like, normal life and in the best way that I can. And, you know, I feel on the mend. I'm healthy enough to sing again, which is great. I even recorded some new music this week, which is cool. Just as like a little test run, be like, is my voice back? And it is, which is great. And it's kind of inspired me to get back into songwriting and get things into gear for this upcoming show in January and make the February show a really memorable one as well. So stay tuned for that. But until next time, I thank you guys for watching so much. I appreciate y'all. I always enjoy the live streams with you guys. If you liked this one, give it a big old thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to. And I will catch you guys next Sunday. Have yourselves a merry little Christmas and a happy new year, although I will see you before the new year. All right. Good night. Peace out. Mwah.